older ones that we could reuse if they are still good, but we will decide that spontaneously. I gotta open. Maybe I have it here. Just want to look into this here. Maybe I've put them aside, you know. But hard to open this thing here, the cabinet, without moving the table. I will look into that. But yeah, I have found a few of the used rubber bands. I want to show them to you. You know, this kind of stuff. You can use them to apply pressure to a little scion that you can graft on top of another cactus. And we will try that later. But yeah, for now, I just want to create a little bit more space on the desk here. Later, we will try to do a pollination. Hey, good morning, Per. Great to see you. Hello. Greetings to you. Hope everything's okay. Have a full desk again. And this morning, I almost live streamed from the garden. I'm currently getting, like, you know, when I'm outside, I feel like, I don't know, it's so hard to control the set when you're outside, you know. And yeah, but I want to get started outside, maybe tomorrow. Hey, Remo. Hey, mate. Also, everyone else, welcome to the live stream. Thank you for being here. Great to see you again. Yes, sure. You can call me, Pat. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, let me empty the desk a little bit. I have a few different things that I want to do today. Like I said, the cactus flower of the Echinocereus is flowering, and I can collect pollen there. I would love to do that. We could pollinate with something else, something like a columnar. Unfortunately, right now, there's no fresh pollen yet, like maybe aside from the Lobivia pollen. And yeah, so we would think about what to do with the Echinocereus flower. And apart from that, grafting plants. So yeah, and also always happy to have a chat. Congratulations for sowing out. I consider sowing out again too. I have a little box of seeds here that I wanted to go through on the live stream. But right now I'm just overwhelmed, to be honest. Really overwhelmed. So when, like on the 10th, yeah, that's okay. Also depends on how warm it is, you know, like the lower the temperature, the longer it can take. Now that it's getting warmer, it's like at least where I live, okay? Like over here, it's getting warmer this week in the next days. Once the temperatures really go high, where you have 30 degrees in the greenhouse, then you can also have a great germination rate in the greenhouse. Then everything goes up, you know? If you're germinating inside, maybe it just takes a little longer at the right temperature. Always got to make sure you are hitting the right temperature and all, but yeah, I wouldn't worry, like, I don't know, 11 days, right? I wouldn't worry at that point. Sometimes, especially when you have seeds that might already be a year old or something like that, you know, they can take a week longer or two even. And it's species related. Some species germinate faster than others. Yeah. Okay. And in the greenhouse, I have a hybrid called Daniela that is flowering right now. Zerensia telegonoides hybrid. And I consider doing time lapse with it, but I wasn't sure. This morning I filmed the video that I will post later where you can see the flower and how it's looking right now. The plant is a little bigger and it could be great when I'm filming it, you know. But the time lapse that I'm filming right now, it's great too. I'm filming from 2 different angles, and that could work out amazingly. Yeah, 20 degrees is really a little too low. When it's getting warmer, I'm sure they will come up. Just make sure you're not having any kind of fungal infection in the colder days until it's getting really, really nice and cozy, you know? Germinating is always like you need a little bit more heat sometimes than can happen fast naturally. You have to really look in, like, even I have moments like where I realize, okay, now I didn't hit the temperature spot, the sweet spot with the temperature. Sometimes the outside temperature is so off that it kind of reduces the temperature inside the house too. Yeah, I mean, you can, I'm sure it will happen. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you have the minimum, and it always depends what you are germinating. Some species need higher temperatures to germinate, even within the same genus. So yeah, and it depends on what you're growing. I have really realized that certain species like Scopolycola germinate much faster than other species like, let's say, Macrogona or Peruviana. You know, like some species germinate a little slower than others. And when you're working with multi-hybrids, who knows what's going on there, you know? But yeah, great to be back. Let's have a look at the Echinocereus that I have. I don't want anything to get wet right now because once you are starting to have water on pollen, on cactus pollen, that's not good for the viability. And I really want to collect a little bit of the pollen. So I'm emptying the desk a little, and we will bring the stuff back. I just want to have a little bit of visibility for you here. Okay. So, and this is a plant that I want to repot this year, but I didn't want to interrupt the flowering. So this is not easy. So this is an Echinocereus hybrid. Really nice flower. I like it. This is decent, and I want to repot it. This will go into a separate pot. Right now it's with another plant. But yeah, this will get a separate one. I want to keep it, and I just want to collect a little bit of pollen here. And I also want to show you the flower that we pollinated recently. But yeah, this is a little bit unstable due to the other plants in the pot. That's why it's not so good to mix different plants in the pot. You have that one that is just leaning over, and it's normal for that species. Oh, come on, man. Please. Give me a second, okay? I'm just not getting it to stand in the right angle. Okay. So yeah, Echinocereus, really nice cactus, nice flower. But they are different to the cacti that I usually breed. So genetically, the pollination might not work out. Like what we're trying here is a pollination, like an intergeneric hybrid pollination. And yeah, which one we will do is I haven't decided yet, but I definitely want to use the pollen that we will collect here as a father on a columnar cactus, Echinopsis, Trichocereus, you know, like the classic big flowering plants. Oh, gotta turn off the. Give me a second, okay? All right. Sometimes my friends watch and send me messages while I'm, you know, like while I'm live streaming. But yeah, greetings to you. So yeah, I want to collect pollen, okay? And we could have also done a time lapse with this one. It was just a little bit more complicated due to the crookedness of the plant. Also, this was one of the plants where the mouse had eaten some of the flower, and I didn't want to stress the plant anymore. I wanted to leave it where it was in the greenhouse, and eventually the flower opened now. Yeah, and I want to collect pollen. I have the little paper bags that I use to collect pollen. Check them out. Little pergamene bags. I suspect for stamp collecting, they have exactly the right dimensions for stamps. And these bags are really good for collecting pollen. I use this brush here. This is a white synthetic fiber. And this is great to pick up the pollen from the from the flower here, and I only want the pollen. I really only try to get a little bit of the pollen on the brush, and then I can put the brush into the bag and turn it against the wall of the bag, and it, by turning it, it will let the pollen go again. That is how I collect pollen. And yeah, it's hard to see when you have a tomato in the face, but there seems to be pollen, so we can definitely do pollinations with that. We can use that as fodder. It will probably fail. Let me tell you that in the beginning, like there will be a high rate of failure when you're doing something like that. It's just a given. I don't think you have, like when you're trying an unusual cactus pollination, I don't think that you should expect a success. It's just something, if it happens, that's amazing. You know, like it more often than not, it doesn't work. But it doesn't mean it can't work. Sometimes someone has, like, nobody has ever tried to make a certain cross, and then suddenly you find out, oops, this actually fits together in a way. And again, high likelihood of failure, because this is just a different kind of cactus flower, different kind of cactus that has evolved. Green stigma here. I will try to show it to you. There. See the green stigma? That is a trait that you see on Echinocereus. When you see a green stigma, it's probably Echinocereus. I mean, there's also differences between Echinocereus and other closely related plants. They might also have a green stigma. I'm not sure, but in general, if I see a green stigma, it's usually Echinocereus. Yeah, Echeveria are great too. I like them. That's nice. I like them too. A lot of cool plants out there. So, by the way, tonight, I have set up this pond camera to always observe what is drinking from the pond at night. So, and this morning, I looked out the window and I saw a huge cat, actually a cat. And it was a wild colored cat, like, you know, like reddish, white, gray, a lot of different colors, long fur, really beautiful big cat. And it had something in the mouth, it looked like a rat. I don't know, something bigger, but not so big like a marten that I've seen, you know. But I suspect it could have been a rat. Yeah, and the camera once again hasn't even filmed it, you know. And that cat has walked in front of the camera, right from left to right. And it wasn't like, the only thing that was visible in the camera was the tail, because the camera only starts to record 5 seconds after the movement. And I don't get why. I don't understand why they are building it like that. Because if I set up a trail cam, I don't want to see what happens 5 seconds after movement. I want to see what's triggering it at that very moment. And I can't even do that. I have to, like, the minimum that you can set is 5 seconds. And it's very, you know, it's really sad when you look out the window, you see something cool and it's not on the camera. So yeah, that was my experience with the camera. Again, I seriously consider to send an email to the manufacturer today. I've already looked up the email address. You know, when you're preparing yourself to complain about something, I already looked everything up because I'm really unhappy about the way that thing works. And when I say the way it works, I mean when it doesn't work. So often that it just doesn't work. I now changed the angle. I felt like maybe, you know, the angle isn't right. I'm kind of blaming myself at this point because I don't want to believe that the camera is really not working properly. So yeah, every time I'm going into the flower, I'm trying to pick up pollen here. And sometimes the pollen isn't right, you know, you have to really look into the situation. And I need to get this tomato out of my face now. I can't work like that because I can't see how much pollen is in the bag. So give me a second, okay? I will definitely repot the plant because I like the flower and I want to keep it. So it will get a bigger pot and it will probably get just pumice as a medium, nothing else, pumice. But for now, since it's flowering, I can't really do that now. I don't want to repot it now in the middle of flowering, in the middle of maybe fruit growing. But this is really annoying. Okay. So now I will try to put it against this thing, and then I might be able to actually see what I'm doing, okay? Okay, yeah. There's very little pollen. This looks very dry. Because I was looking into the bag and I saw there's barely anything in it. And yeah, hasn't changed. There's barely anything in it. Check it out. There's dirt. I think there's a little dirt in the bag, but that's it. Not really what I had hoped. So what you can do in such a case, you get a little scissor, and you can remove that. You can remove everything, filaments and all that are in the flower without the stigma. Stigma in the middle, like that green thing that we talked about, that needs to stay. You need that for pollination because that's where the pollen goes, how the pollen gets to the ovum down through the tube. So yeah, but we could actually use a little scissor to collect the pollen, and we will do that now because I don't want to wait any longer. I'm not happy with the pollen. Like the amount of pollen, this will not be enough for pollination. I'm not sure if you can even see any pollen there. There's barely any in it. And I'm still not sure if it's not just dirt from the brush. So yeah, this is really without tip, you know, very non-spiky. Make sure not to injure yourself, you know, not that kind of thing. I particularly, when I'm grafting, I also brought something for the grafting that's relatively blunt. Okay, second. Of course, it helps when you don't use a scissor that still has the tape from the packages on it. I don't want anything to stick to it. So, and I will go in and I will just try to get the upper part of the filaments here. Check it out. Pistils and all. And this goes in the bag completely. And what will happen is everything will dry up. And eventually you will have a little bit of concentrated pollen left that you can work with. That doesn't happen all the time, but it often happens. Like in this case, I'm not sure what the issue is here. Sometimes you have a plant that's sterile, completely sterile. Sometimes you have just missed the window of opportunity to actually get to the pollen, you know? Sometimes the pollen is fresh when the pollinators are there. So in this, I'm taking the upper part that usually contains the pollen. I take that out of the flower and put it in my little paper bag here so it can dry up. And later you can use that pollen to pollinate other flowers. And yeah, but this is really something that I only do when I do not get enough pollen, like with a brush. The first approach is to collect pollen with a brush and only collect pure pollen, nothing else, just pollen. And if that doesn't work, which it didn't, then we're doing this here with this little scissor, just trying to get as much pollen together as needed to do 1 or 2 pollinations. This is like a last ditch effort. Yeah. And I think we might have just missed the right time. The flower opened already yesterday, and what happens overnight, if you're not fast enough, there are insects in the greenhouse that will pick it up. That will just, they do nothing than enjoying the pollen. So yeah, but check it out. This is what we collected here, and it will dry up. It will be holding a little bit of pollen that can later be used for pollination. But it also means now that we do not have just pollen, we also have a little bit of organic material that you wouldn't want to have in there, like in an ideal case. Because of that, we might have a reduced viability of the pollen. This might only be fresh for maybe 2 weeks, maybe even not as long as that. This could already lose viability within the first day. So ideally, I would do a pollination with this the moment it is dry. So yeah, Echinocera hybrid, and that plant will get a pot separately. I don't want to have to do that anymore. It will get something like this here with pumice. Nothing but pumice, mineral medium for that. Feel like this is the type of plant that appreciates that. Okay. So now we could pollinate this thing. I don't really have a lot of fresh pollen available right now. I have frozen pollen that I could get, and we could pollinate it. If you want, we could do that. I would have to get up to the freezer. I usually put the pollen in the freezer. Yeah, it stays fresh for a year or two sometimes, and you can use that to pollinate later. When you're doing it like in the way we did it right now, with collecting more than just pollen, like I said, the viability is not so long. But in this case, when you collect just pollen, that can stay fresh for years. And yeah, so I will get a little bit of pollen, and then we will pollinate it. I want to pollinate this with a columnar, something with big white flowers, because I don't know. Who knows if it will be a success or not. This one here I pollinated recently, and it doesn't really look superbly successful, but it has also not failed yet. I'm not sure. I don't think it was a success, but we're also still in the game here. It's not looking bad, Yeah, and later today we will graft. I have a few cactus seedlings that I want to graft. I brought two grafting stocks that I want to use, and we will do that. We will do that later today. There's not enough space here, so wait. Okay, so this is my pollen bag, by the way, and this is just flower pollen, cactus flower pollen, nothing else, cactus flower pollen for pollination. And that is what I collected last year. Yeah, and usually just Lobivia, Cerenzia, Echinopsis, the kind of hybrids that we have here. Echinocereus, Hageocereus, Hildewintera. Yeah, and let's see what we can do. This from August. Okay, let's get this. So now we're doing an intergeneric cross between Echinocereus and one of the columnar Echinopsis. So yeah. I hate it. Did I tell you that I don't like this? It has also damaged the dill. This is completely out of control. But I don't want to complain, because that's what I get, Usually that's why you shouldn't mix two different types of cacti like that, okay? So I don't want to complain. I want to pollinate now. Pollen here in the bag. This is just a paper bag, classic paper. Collected in August. Yeah, and that's, could still be viable. Could still be very viable. So let's do a pollination here. Pollinating the stigma. And stigma, I would love to show it more, but the thing is really difficult. There you can see it, like that greenish blob there. I pollinate that. And it's not green in some other cacti. It's just green in this genus. And yeah, pollinating that thing, it will likely fail. With this kind of stuff, you gotta expect failure. And if it works, then you made a hybrid that very few people ever created. Maybe even if, maybe you were the first to create that kind of a hybrid. You never know. And in cases like this, you just gotta expect a certain degree of failure. It is just natural that you're trying out what doesn't work. So, and in this case, since we're doing an intergeneric hybrid cross, we could also use different pollen now. Like when you do really crazy kind of hybrid cross, you can also use a pollen mix. That is an option that you can do. That is something that you should only do if you do not care what kind of a father will eventually be the father that produces the seeds. If you just have one flower and you want to make sure that you get a fruit no matter what, then you can pollinate with different types of pollen to increase the chance a little bit. And when you're doing that, you can even end up with a fruit that has seeds that were pollinated by different fathers. You can have multiple fathers in the same fruit. I read something up to 3 or maybe more. I'm not sure where the limit is, but at least 3. And I found that really interesting. So you could, for example, you could only pollinate a certain part of the stigma. And the stigma often with these cacti has like fingers that are like out, so you can so the pollinators can pollinate them. And you can, if you only pollinate certain of these fingers, the seeds will be separated from each other in the fruit, like where they are positioned, depending on which part you pollinated with which pollen. You could, for example, pollinate only the left part of the stigma with a certain pollen, only the central part, central part of the stigma with a certain pollen, and then the right part with a different type of father too. You could do that, and you could have a mix of different fathers in one fruit. Yeah. So what I don't know. We could use a second one now to increase the chances that we will get a fruit here. But by doing that, we would also bring ourselves into a situation where we can't say for sure which one of the plants we used was the father, if it actually happens. We would be sitting there like Maury. You would look at the offspring and you would think, what was it? Which one was it? And you might never know. That happens quite often. So yeah, let me have a look what else I have here. Okay. In general, due to the fact that this is such a wide cross, and when they say wide cross, they mean like wide. They mean that the difference between the two different parents is pretty big. Like in the sense of how close they are genetically. And with wide crosses like that, they just have a higher chance of going bad, of going down. Pollination doesn't happen sometimes on the first trial. Sometimes you have to do this 5 times, and in one pollination you only get seeds that are non-viable, and in another one you might have 1 or 2 that actually live. It's really difficult when you're pollinating something that is not close together, like closely related. I don't know. We have so many different ones. This has all kinds of hybrids, and I really want to stay with the columnar cacti. So if I get something different now, it will also be a different columnar. So that we could say, okay, the father of this cross was at least that kind of species, that kind of cactus. I don't want to use wildly different types of plants. I'm also not sure how old the pollen is in this bag. I thought it would be from last year, but now I had a bag where there was 22 written on it. You know, 22 is not the kind of pollen that I would want to use. Ideally, you write the year on the bag. Makes it a lot easier to look for something afterwards. Yeah, okay. Here's another one that we will use. The rest of the pollen goes back into the freezer, and I will try to definitely locate the pollen that is from last year, because I feel like we should definitely use the newest one. And it still means this could be, if it's from 2022, it can still be viable. If the pollen is frozen correctly, the viability can be quite long. Like the time frame where you can do pollinations with it can be quite long. So yeah, let me pollinate with this one. Also, same type of columnar plant, just a different plant. Maybe we have a higher chance of actually getting to what we want here. Now, if the pollination should succeed, okay, if that should actually happen, and I said the chances are not so good, but if it should happen, here's what could happen, like in the next generation. The seedlings, I would pollinate the flower. This thing will grow into a fruit. Basically, what happens, the flower dries up, and if the pollination was successful, the little ovum, basically the base here of the flower, will grow into a fruit. And when you grow these seedlings, you could actually have real hybrids that are the result of both parents, that eventually have traits of both parents in one plant. You know, like if you grow the seedlings that are ripening, like the seeds that are ripening in these fruits, and if you grow them out, you might have an actual hybrid after pollination, like what we did here. You might also have a self-pollination, because what we're doing now, we are pollinating with artificial pollen, with alien pollen, with pollen that is not really made to pollinate this flower. And when you're doing that, you can already induce a pollination just because the pollen is so distant. It's like a mechanical pollination, and that is basically nature's fail-safe if no real pollen is around, because these plants have evolved for a certain type of pollen, but they are not stupid in nature, you know, like they have a fail-safe that keeps them from going extinct even when there's no other plant around. So sometimes they get a little bit of different kind of pollen, and it just induces a pollination that will eventually produce seedlings that are very close to the original. It's not really a full hybrid. It's not a real hybrid. The father pollen that we used here, in this case of the columnar, and by the way, it would be a plant like this, you know, like a, you know, straight, maybe 2 meters, 3 meters tall, white flowers. It wouldn't be a true hybrid. It would just be a self-induced copy of the original. And that could very well happen. Okay, that is one of the most likely scenarios, especially when you only see 1 or 2 seeds. A few seeds in the fruit can often mean that you only have a self-pollination, mechanical pollination. And you can distinguish, you got to separate between mechanical pollination, just because you have put something on it, or a real self-pollination, where you have a cactus that is able to pollinate itself. And that, like with the plants that we are breeding here, that happens rarely. That happens. There are some species that are able to self-pollinate, but it's not so common. Most of the cacti that we have here, they are self-sterile. They need pollen from a second plant to produce seeds, to produce a fruit. So yeah, that's the situation. Pollinating it again with frozen pollen. I would love to pollinate with something fresh, but right now I only have lobevia pollen. And yeah, I'm not really, I don't know, where's the fun in that? I would love to try out something with a columnar, but they are taking a little longer. And that's why it can be good to freeze pollen. Because during the year, you often have the same species flowering at the same time. And if you want to make an unusual cross like what we are doing now, having pollen that is available at any time when you need it is a good thing. It is rare that you can make this the kind of cross that you would like to do just based on when the flowers are open simultaneously. That happens sometimes, but I'm using different types of cacti, and they are flowering not only at different weeks in the year, they are also flowering at different times during the day. You have Lobivia that is opening in the morning. This has opened now in the overnight, open in the morning. Yeah. And some open at night, some open during the day. It's sometimes they are fairly specific because they want to attract the pollinators that are always pollinating them in nature. So okay, yeah, we will see where this will go. Let's put together a label for that thing in case it should work. Using something like this here. Trying to find a text marker that actually works. So this is columnar. Okay. So I want to put a hole into the label here that I've written for that. Punching a hole through it with the stapler. Is that no? It's not a stapler, right? Stapler is something that puts together the pages, I believe. But yeah, this is a hole puncher. I don't know how it's in English, but I'm punching the hole in it now. It's broken. But it worked. Okay. Yeah. And this will go on the flower. Have a little wire here. Little piece of wire that I will wrap around. Just trying to get the label to stay up. Doesn't have to be good. Doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to stay up. Because once you have it, when it falls down, let's say you have a plant that is flowering with many different flowers simultaneously, and you have put the labels on that, you don't want it to fall down. You don't want the label to come down again. So yeah, this will be a little piece of wire, very thin, and then you can wrap that around the flower, around the tube at the base there. Eventually, when it succeeds, this will be around the ovum at the base. You need to push that a little further down because a part of the flower will dry up, and you need to be below that, or the label will also fall down. Yeah, okay. So pollination is done. Pollinated both of them. Unhappy, very unhappy actually that I couldn't collect pollen. I'm really unhappy about that. But yeah, it is what it is. And maybe there will be another time when we can do it. Okay, so now I want to move this a little to the side here. Go out of my sight. The other pollen, this will go into the freezer again. I just want to have a look at where did I put the pollen that I collected? I think I put it in the bag. Need to find it. Let's see. The pollen that I collected now today still needs to dry. If I put that, like when you have the filaments in the bag with it, it needs a little bit time to dry up. And if you don't do that, you still have humidity in it, and you're freezing it with humidity. But what you want to do is you want to wait until the humidity is out, and then you are freezing it. It's a higher chance that the viability will remain in the pollen if you use it again later. Ideally, when you collect pollen, it should only be the pollen itself, like just the pollen, nothing else. But yeah, sometimes you don't have that luxury. So we will see. And then we will graft. Okay. I wanna do that very soon. I'm just trying to locate the pollen that I collected. And it might never happen. Oh, you know what? I don't care. Okay. You go in, you stay in. It wasn't a lot of pollen to begin with. I think it will freeze all right because there wasn't so much organic mass in there. But yeah, would have loved to have it out first. Usually you would leave it out, let it dry for a day, and then you put it in the freezer. Okay. So let me show you the rubber bands that I have here. And I only have these, and I'm unhappy that I only have these. I need to find the others that I had. These are the ones that I already used before, and they can often snap. They have a high chance that they will eventually fail. But this is the kind of size of rubber band that I use for grafting. Cactus grafting, something that I usually do between maybe May and August at the latest. Right now, it's just barely the time where I still do it. Check this out. This is the kind of stuff that I also use for seedlings, and that's what we need today. So over here, I brought a failed graft. And with a failed graft, you have to decide what you want to do. At some point, you will have to take down the failed graft. Otherwise, that thing will infect the grafting stock. So this is a grafting stock. I just put that in a new pot, gave it new soil, and now I want to make sure that the grafting stock is straight. Main thing, I need stability, okay? I really need stability, and that makes everything so much easier once you are putting pressure on it. So what I will do now is I will get a little bit more soil. I want to wear gloves now because I want to work clean. Want to work clean later because this is going to be a little muddy. Okay. I have a little soil below the desk here, and I just want to fill up the pot here to give more stability to the stock. Stock needs to have a solid position in the pot when you are grafting. It really helps when you have a grafting stock that doesn't wiggle around. My personal opinion, that is really absolutely necessary. You can also graft on plants that are wiggling around, You're just making it harder for yourself. Like depending on how good you get, people can graft in almost any kind of position where the stock is. You can bury the grafting stock deep, which we will do later. Later, I have a very unusual kind of plant that we will where we will have to make sure that we have stability. And so you can graft on many different things, but The question is, do you have to make it harder for you than necessary? Okay, so here's disinfecting the knife. And I wanted, like, what we could do right now. This is a failed graft from previously. If that had any kind of health, we could leave it. We could decide to leave it on. But this is gone through and through. So I want to take it off anyway, and I will take it off directly below the part where they are fused together, where they have grown together. I don't want to have to cut twice, because I could now cut off the grafted scion and also then cut again below to get a fresh wound on the grafting stock, so I can graft on top of it. But yeah, you can just skip the part where you're cutting this thing off and just remove this here on the grafting stock directly. Then the old one is gone. There's no more risk of infection coming through here into the grafting stock. You can root this separately even. If this is big enough, this can root separately again. I think this is gone. This is properly gone. But if there was a base, a healthy base, you could save it like that. You could remove that from the stock and root this separately and give it another chance and still use the stock. So here's the stock. Check it out. Little bit of dirt got on it. So I want to clean the wound here. I really want to have a clean wound. What you can do in order to get a cleaner wound, you can cut again. So disinfecting the knife. Cleaning it. And this is really, this is just a fruit cutter, okay? Just borderline children stuff. For safety purposes, I want to have total safety on the set here. Yeah, okay, so this is the grafting stock now. I have a fresh cut. In the center, you see the vascular bundle. Check it out. Like this circle in center. There you can see it a little. And that is where you have to bring the scion, the little thing that you want to graft. And what we will do now is we will cut the edges because that is something that you should do. And the reason is because later, once your graft has succeeded, you do not want something to push down the graft from the stock. Like at some point, if you leave this, like if you only do a straight cut and graft on it right away, you have an increased risk that there will be a new pop coming from here, from the sides here, from the flanks, and that new pop, when it's getting bigger, will push off whatever you're putting on there now. So what you do is you kind of create a scarred area here downwards like this. Usually you remove the areoles that are there because that is a good place for them to pop. In between, disinfecting again, working clean. And this grafting stock's also not perfectly healthy, so we're taking off more here. When I'm seeing something that I don't like, I take it off. At this point, you can still do it. Once something has grown together, who knows what will happen? Every infection that is in will eventually have good chances to come back, will definitely compete against whatever you graft on top there. Taking off the top layer because it makes it easier to have one straight layer. So now I have properly scarred everything that could pop, everything that could push down the scion from the stock. And it doesn't matter if the grafting stock is looking good, that kind of thing. It really doesn't matter. So we will graft a little seedling on it now. This one here has a root infection. Check it out. Little seedling. But with that kind of root, I don't think it will live. So we will try grafting it. We will see if that will work. Making a cut into the healthy, making sure that everything's okay. A little bit safety distance. Safety distance goes a long way. And then I'm placing that thing here in center. And I'm aligning it with the vascular bundle. Got to be very careful now. So, and when you have a seedling of this small size, you cannot really use the stronger rubber bands. So you have to get something that is a little finer. And we will use something that is fitting for the pot. So this could work, for example. You should be looking at the kind of rubber bands that you have there and pick one that works good with the seedling that you have, because not every seedling can take the same amount of pressure. And the more pressure you apply, there's a breaking point for seedlings. So yeah, let me show you how I do this. I try to get the rubber band on top of the stalk, out of the dirt. And then I put it below the pot. And then I can pick it up, yeah. And then I can carefully try to balance the seedling. And this is the hardest part, balancing the seedling. When I let go, this can flip and throw it away. The first one is always the hardest. Once you have it straight on the surface, it becomes so much easier. Then you do the second one. But yeah, now I have an unclean wound and I'm just taking the top layer off to get back to where I was before. I want a clean wound. Gotta always be careful when something has catapulted the seedling. It sometimes gets dirty, disinfecting it a little. So, okay, then I'm trying to put it on again. And I want to look at the size of the bands. Maybe I have something that's even a little bit weaker than this one. Another thing that you have to keep in mind, the taller the seedling, the more difficult it gets to control it. So in this live stream for now, we will just try to control that little seedling and get it to a point where it's really stable. Stability is the one thing that will decide if this will take or not. And this, like in regards to the rubber band, this kind of rubber band is really the limit, what you can, like the kind of pressure that you can apply to them. Okay, so this has worked. And now it would be good to actually put another one on it, but it will also increase the risk again that something will fail. Right now we have it. It's fixed, okay? The cyan is on there. If the wound was clean, if everything was clean, it should grow together in humidity. Right now, when you have a seedling like this, you want to give it a little bit of humidity within the first few days to make it easier for them to fuse together, to grow together. And yeah, so we will do that now. This will go to a lamp. And again, now we could apply a second one to add more stability to that. And it would be, it could fail, but it can also make everything so much safer. So let's try it out, okay? Here's the second one, and I'm crossing this now. Okay, it's looking good. Check it out. And you see how much pressure I put on there. This is not excessive. this is enough pressure that you need to get them to grow together, but not too much. For that, to press too much, too firmly on the scion and damage it. Because everything can be too much for that little seedling there. You have to find exactly the right amount of pressure to keep that thing. You need to push it together, push it so close into the grafting stock that they can actually grow together. And you need to do that without putting so much pressure on the scion that it completely smashes the graft. So yeah, this will go into like under a lamp, humidity, little lamp, air humidity, maybe with a little bit of spraying here and there, but nothing should get to the wound itself. I don't want to have water on the wound. I just want to have humidity for the two to fuse together. Then it comes out and it will get a light. Needs to be protected within the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe even. But yeah, it gives us a chance. Hey mate, welcome to the live stream. Thank you for being here. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm grafting a little. And it's not so easy inside. Got to work clean, and when you have a desk, everything cramped together. Not perfectly easy, but doable. Just trying to get rid of the dirt here. Really need to clean up the desk later. Yeah, we will do a lot of grafting this year. Definitely more grafting in the next maybe 2 months. Want to graft a lot. Like every time I'm seeing something that we need to save, then we will graft. I just need to look into the seedlings to decide which ones I can graft on. Hey, good morning, Robert. I just did a little bit of grafting. So then I have this here. And I'm not sure if we have the right rubber band for that. So the idea is sometimes when you have a very slender kind of grafting stock like this, like some of the more slender species need a little bit additional stability. So you can pot them deeper in the pot. So in this case, the soil level is here right now, and we can fill up to give the plant stability. And then you have a nice, straight, solid base to graft on it. And that the fact that you're covering a little bit more of the plant, of the stock, is often not a huge issue. But yeah, I need to have a proper rubber band for that, and we will try that out. Thank you. I appreciate it. They're not showing me enough on Facebook, so I'm trying my luck with the algorithm on YouTube, Yeah, but I feel like we're on a good path. Everything is really, I like what we do. I feel like that I can take that stream into many different directions that could be equally interesting. Now we're grafting. Earlier we were pollinating, doing time lapse, gardening. This can be good. Doing my part. So yeah, I actually had a big bag of rubber bands that I wanted to use for grafting. But the only ones that I find now are the old ones. And those are often, the moment you are overextending them to the level where we have to get them to, they will snap. And I don't want that in my face. Let me see. Yeah. We need new rubber bands, I think. I need to find the others. I'm not sure where they are. The mice might have eaten them. So good. Yeah, we can't really graft on that now. But this is one where I also feel like we can do a nice little video with it, because this needs stability. And if you graft on it now, it will be hard. You could pot it up at soil level here, like have it higher up, and then, but then you have such a long plant, you would have to really cut it down. Or you leave it in one piece or a little bigger, cut here, surround everything with soil to give it stability, and then graft here. But yeah, we need bigger rubber bands for that. Rubber bands, we can also, by the way, you can also do that with painter's tape. Actual painter's tape for when you're painting, that you are putting over the stickers, over everything, over the electricity outlets and that kind of thing. That kind of thing, you can use that to graft on stuff too. I personally don't like it because very often insects get stuck to it, and I don't want to have these kind of traps around my plants, but you can do it like that, you know, it can work. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really not worrying, you know. I feel like when I consistently put in good work all the time, eventually we will be found, you know. I really believe in that, and putting in my good work every day is my way of saying, hey guys, like the channel a little bit, you know. Okay, so we grafted that now, and that was the only seedling from that cross that made it, unfortunately. Hopefully this will work out. I want to graft more. And I want to graft the seedlings that are not making it. The seedlings that will eventually, where I see there's a root infection, and those will not make it. And that's the ones we will graft in the next 2 months. I'm not in the seed business anymore. I completely exited the seed business. The seed business was really a nice experience in my life, but it was also a tough industry, you know. Very difficult. Very often you buy seeds and later you find out that they are not viable. And when you have just bought maybe 100,000 of them, that can be really difficult, you know. And yeah, I'm glad that I'm not in the seed business anymore, because it allows me now to do the live stream. I wasn't able to do that earlier. Wouldn't have been possible the way I do it now. So yeah, I'm happy about that. I also do not sell plants. I'm just a personal breeder, you know, just doing live streaming, nothing else. I do not have a shipping thing, nothing like that. I'm basically almost retired. The only reason I'm not retired yet is because I enjoy what I do right now. I was already so ill, I could have just done nothing, you know, like stop with the business and just do nothing. But I can't do it. I don't have the inner peace to just sit there, you know. I feel like there's good stuff to do right now here. I'm sorting out almost everything that isn't own hybrids, you know. I can tell you, send me a photo. I haven't really seen a lot of them. Like the photos that I've originally seen from Colana Roya was Macrogonus, was the kind of plant that they are treating as Macrogonus today. You know, like when they recently brought back the species Macrogonus, they have started treating a certain type of Peruvianus as Macrogonus now. If they are different, if you can really separate them from Glauca, it's hard to tell. For one, there's not enough material of Glauca to really say where that species begins and ends, you know. That is the one thing. And the other thing is just that I haven't been, like, what they consider Macrogonus might not even be the real macro, you know, like it is hard to say what they are using as a comparison to compare against. Yeah. Send me a photo. The ones that I have seen would probably be called Macrogonus, and they are very similar to Glaucus. I agree, you know, and yeah, they would have to look into that. If that is maybe even the same species, I'm not sure, because Macrogonus has a very unique kind of body type compared to the more tree-like species. You know, Macrogonus gets really wide. That could be something like Glaucus chalensis. I'm not sure. Like the original species Macrogonus was, I think it was Cerois macrogonus in the 1800s. It's a very old name that came up, and at the time, it's hard to tell what kind of plant they meant when they wrote the description of macrogonus. You know, they could have equally been looking at Glaucus at the time when they wrote the description of macrogonus, and had described it under that name. That's why it's so difficult to use Macrogonus as a species, as a genuine species today, because it's so hard to actually use something as a standard, where you can say, okay, this is getting 3 meters tall and the other one is only getting 2 meters tall. Like these clear facts, you know, like today they have assigned Macrogonus to the type of plant that Collana roya was. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how tall they will be. I haven't really seen a lot of that, like as a bigger plant. Yeah, I believe it. I have some of them, like some of the Peruvianus on the market are definitely Glaucus. But Glaucus is a species where there were very few photos in the beginning. The original description already had very bad photos. In general, there were barely any genuine photos of the species, and that makes it so hard, you know? We will see. It's really difficult. It's a difficult kind of complex because you have chalensis, which is also similar. You have Glaucus, and then there were similar species that they also described. You know, like there are very few examples that you can compare against, and that is the big problem. They need to test Echinopsis glauca and look into that if that actually is the same species as what they understand as Macrogonus today. I would love to see a testing result, a study about that. Would be great. I would love to see that. So yeah, but they're cool. They're amazing plants. Everything that I've seen from them was amazing. Really good, nice, beautiful body. Will be very impressive later. Okay, yeah. So let's do a little bit more of the watering because I have so much here. This is something has damaged the dill. This had been leaning over the ledge here and something pressed against it. So I'm removing that, but it really smells like dill. Like when you're putting it in the salad, this is already has a lot of scent. I want to start watering now. I have a bucket here beside me, and I just want to give everything that I haven't watered a little spraying, little watering. Yeah, little dill. I started to grow all kinds of vegetables. It was just something that felt right. I'm not really that into vegetables. It's just something that felt right at the moment. At the point in my life where I was at. Felt like with the live stream, it's a fun thing to do. Also with the chilies are fun. Really interesting. So yeah, right now I'm really thinking about bringing a different plant into the house to do a time-lapse video. In the greenhouse I have 2 Telegonoides hybrids that are flowering right now. And we could bring them in and do time-lapse. They are a little bigger. It's really kind of difficult to move. But yeah, we could do it. The flowers are nice. Flowers are very big. 22 centimeters has the one that I have in eye. where I consider bringing it in for a time lapse of the flower. And if we do it, we have to do it very soon because the flower is already farly developed. I would post a video later that I already recorded earlier this morning. Like, flower is already this big, so we should probably start filming if we decide to do it. And yeah, but I'm already filming something. Like, every choice for something, for a certain flower, is also a choice against another. And I'm not sure what to film right now because there are so many of them. This week I had more than one panic attacks, just because there are suddenly so many things that we can do. Like in winter, it was very easy. The weather was bad, and we had to stay inside. But now we can actually start to go out, and I intend to do that. So yeah, I've been stressing myself over what to film, what to use the camera for, that kind of thing, you know? I want to make use of this great season that we have here. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure. When the flowers are opening, they are opening, and you need to be present no matter what, you know? So yeah, I just hope everything will go right. Everything will be good. I hope the time-lapse videos will look great. I'm a little worried about the electricity costs because I have 2 different lamps on it. You know, it's like a little video set. Yeah. And I'm also worried that who knows what will happen, you know? Like, and at the same time, when I'm filming the time-lapse, I could actually be out filming something else, you know? Like, there's always something that you can do, like different things we could do, and picking the right thing isn't easy. See so much potential in some things, like that telegonoides flower that is opening in the greenhouse. I know how amazing they can look sometimes. That could look amazingly in a video, in a time lapse. Yeah, and but I've also seen the other angles that I've been filming, and they look great too. So it's always hard to pick the right plant to film. Sometimes the choice is very easy, and sometimes it's very hard. So, and this is the basil that I'm watering just now. Yeah, they're developing nicely. I have them under the lamp, and with the seedlings, with the vegetables, I'm also unsure how much of them I want to keep them inside. Should I keep them inside the whole summer? Should I bring them out eventually? You know, I'm a little worried if I bring the vegetables out, they will be gone in one night, because I've already had these kind of experiences before. So for now, I still have them in, but since they are under a plant lamp, costs electricity. I'm really a little bit scared of the electricity bill this year. So yeah, but I'm happy about the size of the basil. They've been so easy, very easy to grow. Barely done anything with them. I just repotted them at some point. No, I didn't even repot them. I planted them directly in this pot, and they have a nice scent. This is really, really good already. Every time I smell this thing, I think about cough drops or some sort of a cough candy, and it's really nice. I like it. It's one of the plants that I have never grown, you know. Sometimes you know all the tastes because you've already had it in food, but once you see it as a plant in front of you, that's a good thing, that you can kind of see that you can bring that into the real world a little bit by just growing them. So yeah, I mean, check it out. I'm fairly happy with this. I'm not sure how much space they need in regards to the roots, and I intend to not worry so much about that. They are in a good soil. They will just grow until the pot is full with the roots, and then we will decide what to do. Maybe we're singling them out eventually. I'm also not sure how long the plant will live, if this is an annual or if this is a perennial. But it feels a little bit like an annual. I'm not sure. So a little water here. And then I want to show you the strawberries that I've grown. White strawberries, and they are not there yet. Like, you can only see the plant. But eventually we will get strawberries. They were promised to me. So give me a second. Just want to spray this again a little bit here. And I'm really not worried if the plants are pushed down, blown over. At some point you have to start pushing them a little bit. Giving them a reason to actually grow strong. Training the muscles and all. Okay, so here are the strawberries. Check it out. These have really grown fast now. Like, since I fertilized them, you can see they look much better. Very positively surprised with the strawberries. And I'm not sure how many plants we have. I suspect maybe 7 to 10. But since this is like a ground covering plant, it's kind of jumping a little, you know? But yeah, I'm happy about this. This was one of the first things that I tried sowing out here. Could already be 3 months old now. Okay, yeah. Want to water this, and I have it under the lamp, really under the lamp, giving it full light, full sun. I'm not really worried about giving it too much sun. So far, this plant has eaten everything that I've given to it, like in regards to the sunlight. I've had it very close to the lamp. I've had it in the shade. Both worked. I feel like in sun it looks a little better now. Okay, so here's the parsley. Yeah, the parsley doesn't look good. I'm not sure what got into it, what kind of a demonic possession got into it, but it doesn't look good. Like, something has eaten little holes into the leaf here. And yeah, I would really love to know what did that. What kind of a little insect has done that? Every time I look at it, I can't find it. Sometimes you really have to investigate, and there are pests that are hiding in the pot. It's just on one leaf, but the others also don't strike me so healthy. Hey mate, welcome to the live stream. Everything's okay, thank you. I've grafted a little. I collected pollen in the live stream today. Yeah, and now I'm discussing the parsley. The parsley is looking not so good. Parsley is looking mediocre at best. Like, the really good parsley breeders, they will be very disappointed with my work. But yeah, it's okay. It's still alive. So there's that. Want to water it again? Maybe this just needs to stay at the lamp for a week or so. Maybe I should stop bringing it in. Hope everything's okay for you too. So, yeah, I want to water it again in the hope that if there is a pest, I can deter it. Doesn't look like it, but at least I try. Yeah, and goes back to the lamp. I really want to give this the same kind of light that the strawberries are getting. Once again, the leaves hang down now after watering. This needs to actually grow strong. So light is probably very important now when you have sick looking leaves, that kind of thing. I really feel like if this is going in the sun, it will look much better. I'm sorry to hear about that. I thought that Australia had some sort of like a health system, like health insurance for everyone, that kind of thing. Socialist healthcare system. But yeah, I hope you can sort it out. Tell them there's no money to be found. Tell them they have the wrong number. You are absolutely someone else. You do not remember anything that has happened that day. So they can prove it in court. I mean, you can at least try. And also welcome everyone else. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, so you might have to pay it in advance and then they pay like they pay it afterwards, right? That's how it was with, like, when I was younger, my parents were how is it called? In German, it's something like it's private insurance, like in Germany, they have a healthcare system from the state, and you can also, like, the people that are actually that have a company that employ people, they are usually covered by private health insurance. And that used to be the better service. You get, like, when you're going to the doctor, they let you in front of the line right away because they get paid faster, they get paid better, I guess. So yeah. And when we had that, we always had to pay in advance, and they later reimburse you. Also, good morning, everyone else. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope it works out. The thing with the ambulance, I mean, in my personal opinion, the problem when you make people pay for an ambulance is that they will often tend to not call it in order to save money. Like when they have a health emergency, and they should actually call the ambulance, but they don't. They decide not to because they can't afford it, and that is the reason why I support a healthcare system where at least some basic care is guaranteed. I see that as a good thing. Yeah. Like, life was much easier when I was still in private health insurance. But yeah, at the very least, you have some sort of a guaranteed bottom, like a safety net that catches you, where you can, at the very least, if there's an emergency, you can call the ambulance, you can go into the not ICU, but like emergency ambulance, that kind of thing. And that makes a big difference, in my opinion, and very often, like, the problem is that many people go into the ambulance, go into the emergency thing here, with trivialities where they shouldn't go there. And that is the big thing, that is kind of the big argument against that kind of a socialized system, because some people are just there going into the ICU, like into the emergency care, for stuff where they could just discuss it with their general practitioner and that kind of thing, But yeah, it's still important that people can call an ambulance for someone that is suffering, that needs help. Okay. Yeah, let me have a look at the stuff that I have below the desk here. I have these two, and this is a Physalis. One of the very few Physalis seedlings I could save from the mouse. I've had a mouse in one room and it ate some of the plants. I was very unhappy about that. They really liked the Physalis. They were real Physalis connoisseurs. They really loved that. And yeah, we only have two of them left, I think. But we have pomegranate. Check it out. It's growing out of this thing straight, mostly. Yeah, and looking interesting. Really interesting kind of plant. Pomegranate. Never grown it. The seeds germinated best when I soaked them. And then I just put the thing into the soil and it grew. Have a nice day, mate. Thank you for having been here. I appreciate it, you know? So yeah, and that is the situation right now. I'm getting at least one panic attack a week, sometimes more. I just want everything to go right with the new season. I'm doing my best. Yeah, but I don't want to waste all these good flowers that are coming now. And so many of them are opening simultaneously now. Will be really hard to always pick the best ones, you know? Sometimes you don't even know how the flower looks until it's opening up. And that is the bad thing. Like sometimes you see a flower in the greenhouse and you think, oh, I would have loved to do a time lapse with this thing. Okay, so here's a tomato that I wanted to show you. Nice and healthy. This is looking good, actually. And the soil is just sowing soil. Nothing fancy, nothing particularly expensive. It's just standard sowing soil. And a good fertilizer and light. Still have once again forgotten to bring in the stakes for the tomatoes, but we will do it. Maybe we're doing something outside in the next days where I'm just putting together some of the Robinia tree wood to stake up the tomatoes because we need that. I just want to water it now. Watering it a little bit. Every time I'm doing something, something is falling over. This desk is just too full. And that is all I can say. The desk is too full. Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, again, I'm really struggling right now. Finding, like, right now I should actually, like, I got me a new smartphone. I got me a GoPro and I need to set that stuff up now. When we have the big flower flush, I will try to wear the GoPro. But it's new technology and I tried to understand the technology and I couldn't get it to work in the beginning. Like the GoPro was a little too complex for me. I'm not good with new technology. Once I gotten used to something, everything flows naturally, but in the beginning, something new, I hate that. I hate everything new. And right now it's new. So yeah, want to water the tomato here a little bit. Harzfeuer F1 was that, I think. Harzfeuer F1. German tomato cultivar, and it's looking good. Yeah, and we will see what we do with all the plants that I have in the house right now. I would love to start filming outside, but once I have the plants outside, I'm a little worried, you know. You can suddenly you come out in the morning and all the plants are eaten or something like that, you know. Thank you. I didn't know that there was an app. I got me the GoPro 10. GoPro 10 because that was the one that I could afford, you know? Everything I do is relatively low budget. So I got me like a thing to carry it, a mount for the chest mount for the camera, and yeah, GoPro 10. And for one, I want to try to do a time-lapse video because I saw some that looked really good. And I also want to wear it some days. And yeah, I need to get used to it a little bit, you know, and I always need my time until I try to do something new. And I'm not fully there yet, but it will happen. Like at one point it will click and I will have that thing on me. It's just when you're doing this, it's kind of hard to make a cut, you know? Like every now and then when I'm filming, I'm cutting a lot in between where I don't need the extra time, where I'm just walking through the garden, that kind of thing, you know? And when you carry the camera, you have it on you all the time. Yeah, that's why it's here. Thank you. That's why it's here. It's getting watered just now. That's why I have it. That's why I brought it here. We'll be getting water now. Also the other plants here, they also will be watered now. Yeah. Also will be repotted sometime soon. Need to put it in a bigger pot. But yeah, there are too many vegetables right now. Growing a lot of plants at once. And yeah, there's always something to do, you know? But to be honest, this is also not perfectly dry. It can still take a little. So, check it out. Like if you look at the pot, there's still a little bit of humidity in it. It's not good enough, but it'll live. It will recover. So yeah, let me water this one. Then I have another tomato seedling that is slowly coming. And another pomegranate that we need to repot very soon. Also relatively tall now. Just grown recently. The pomegranate seedlings have grown relatively fast. Okay. So yeah, let me water this here. Yeah, and once this is going to be as like big enough that I need to put a stake beside it, we will repot it. Then it will come into a bigger pot. I have a few very big pots for these plants, but yeah, it's a lot of soil. I'm always running out of soil. Yeah, it's the first time that I'm growing them. I'm not even sure how they will like the winter here. We will try it out, you know? Everything that I'm growing, some of them I might have to keep inside all year round, or maybe in winter, I'm bringing them in again. Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to be a tree. Exactly. I'm not sure. I have never seen the kind of plant that they turn into. But yeah, it's good. I like trees. We will see how long I can grow it under a lamp. Some of the stuff will come out. I'm not sure which ones, but some. The ones that are the least likely to be eaten by animals in the forest. So, okay, yeah, I have watered this one. And then it will go back to the lamp. Just having 18 hours of light, relatively dark leaves. This could be from the fertilizer. I'm not sure. We will see. Sometimes it's a fine line between enough nitrogen and too much. We will see. Here's another one. I'm not sure, did I show that to you already? Because it needs water. Also pomegranate. Yeah, I will put up a stake you mean the tomatoes? I'm about to cut some outside in the garden. I wanted to do it like for a week now. I wanted to do that last week already, cutting together little pieces of wood so I can stack up the tomatoes. That would come, but I always forget when I'm outside. But yeah, it needs to happen very soon. They're getting to the point where I'm sure they will appreciate it. So yeah, later today I need to water a little again, just giving the plants a little bit of water in the greenhouses. How can you tell the right time to pick them? With the tomatoes, I'm not sure. We will see that. This is the first time that I'm growing vegetables. I'm actually cactus breeder, and everything else is just something that we're playing around with. And we will see when they are ripe. I have a few chilies, and those are now getting to the point where they are getting ripe, and that one is just changing color. So I'm waiting a little bit longer until it's maybe a little bit more reddish, and then I'm taking it down. And inside with the tomatoes, hard to tell how it will go with the lamp. And I'm still not 100% sure if I want to keep them inside all summer long. Because at some point I will just live stream from the garden, and that could actually happen any day now. I considered doing it today. And the only reason I didn't was because I had a full desk of plants here that I wanted to bring in, and it would have been a lot of work to carry them all out. Yeah, the chilies are below the desk. They will come. I will bring them now. And here's another one beside me. And they are really nice. I like them. The chilies have been one of my most favorite things this year. Yeah, I'm doing my best. Yeah. And for now, I mean, the big problem that I have right now is space, like grow space, good grow space, because you want to have them inside when you're doing what I do now. Ideally, they need to get a good spot, but outside, the good spots can be exposed to other problems. Like I have a lot of deer that are around. I'm a little worried to move anything out of the house now. And inside, everything costs electricity. Thank you. Hey, greetings to you. Like that was an old username that I remember. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. So yeah, want to water that. And this one is flowering now. Starting to water. Starting to flower, I mean. But not there where I can pollinate something. They're really miniature flowers on this one. Doesn't look healthy, to be honest. Doesn't look like a healthy way of flowering. Yeah, most of them are okay. One or two, you know, there are one or two plants that might have a few issues here and there. I've seen one or two aphids on one plant, but they're never really enough for it to be a problem, you know. And for now, the fact that I have them inside, that I'm spraying them, kind of helps to keep them healthy. The fertilizer that they get is good. And yeah, only thing that where I feel like I could do better is I could give them bigger pots. And it's a money issue, you know, because every big pot, you need to fill it up. You need to order soil. And right now I'm using up too much soil already. So yeah, but we have to repot again soon. They are just getting to the point where maybe we can put them into twice the size. Don't have to go up so fast, but a little bit. So let me spray the physalis that are in front of the camera. Forgot to do that. Some cactus seedlings on the side. Yeah, I'm starting to water everything now already. Getting close to the end of the live stream, but I'm always happy to take questions, you know? Yeah, with the soil, it's really tough. It's really tough, especially when you're in an industry that isn't so commercial, that you can't really market in a way that a lot of other people can do it. You know, like when you constantly have to buy soil, it can become quite a huge sum of money that gets together. And yeah, I feel it too. Everything's become more expensive. The fertilizer, the pots, the soil, everything. The electricity to grow them. In the last year, I constantly had to order new soil. I was basically waiting for an order in the shop. And when I got one, I ordered me another 3 or 4 bags of soil, or maybe a few pots to work with. And the more plants you have, the more you need. Really quite challenging. Also because everything you grow, you have to keep in mind, you constantly have to repot it in order to have it healthy. Like what we're doing here, what I'm doing, you have to make sure that they stay healthy. So you are constantly having to repot in order to make sure they are not running out of space. But because the moment plants are really crowded in a pot, where they are really root bound, they develop more problems like skin issues, unhealthiness, just being more vulnerable to fungal infections, that kind of thing, you know. Yeah, and on this one, the flowers are tiny, really tiny. They have fallen off. Almost looked like it could be sterile. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't really seen a normal flower yet, and it could still happen. But with this one, I suspect that it could be a mutation that doesn't flower properly. I don't know. The flowers are really tiny compared to the others. And I have that on some cacti too. And this is the Carolina Reaper, by the way. Carolina Reaper chocolate. And I would love to see any kind of chili on these here. Would be amazing. Just cleaning the label, but yeah, it's Carolina Reaper. Okay. Yeah, so I want to say one more thing, by the way, that I forgot to say. Like, at the moment, I'm really dropping some good posts from time to time. Like, there were times in my life when I wasn't really happy with what I was posting, but right now I'm posting some good stuff, and they are barely showing it on social media. Mostly, in my opinion, if you ask me, they are not showing it because I'm very critical of AI. And you know that their livelihood depends on it. They're kind of planning AI to be a big thing, and I don't think it will be. Like, I think it will need so much data space that it will become very expensive to operate, you know. And I also criticize stuff from time to time, and they're not showing that enough on social media, in my opinion, you know. So check it out. Yesterday I posted something, and I just wanted to bring it up on the live stream too. I consider the live stream my official speaks organ, you know, like one of my main outsources, like points where I outsource my feelings and all. And I just wanted to say that one of the reasons why I'm so against AI, like that regenerative AI that they are using on social media, one of the main reasons I'm so against it is because I consider it something of the past. Like, it's basically the combined knowledge of humanity that they are using. It's something that is our past. And it's not something that is, you still need people to create stuff. You still need people to post. You still need people to actually be creative. But at the same time, that technology is intended to bring the people out of, basically push the people out of these industries, out of the art industry, out of the movie industry, out of the writing industry, out of the music industry. And that is really the case in all of them. If you look into every situation that I just brought up, it's a topic in all of them. And then it's not fair, because we are competing against ourselves. We are competing against the combined knowledge of humanity. And it's impossible to do that, for one. And second, they still need people to continue to post. Otherwise, they will just have all that old information, nothing else. It will continue remix it. They will continue regurgitate it, but it will not be something new. Like when people sometimes are so creative that they are doing something that's entirely new, that is future oriented. And I don't see that from AI. AI is just mixing things from the past. And that was what I wrote. Thank you. Now I'm looking into the comments, okay? I wanted to say that, but I will catch up with the comments. Do you find you have more UK or US viewers? Probably US. Have a lot of friends from the United States from the times when I was doing like Cactus forums and that kind of thing, when I was moderating on Cactus forums. So I usually met more people from the United States, also because the climate there was a little better for planting cacti out or for growing them. I know a lot of people in California because the climate is good there. Really many cactus breeders there. So yeah, but I also know some people from the UK, had supporters with the books and all. Yeah, and I really regretted the Brexit because I used to get a lot of stuff from the UK. It instantly added the risk for custom control, for having to pay taxes. Just, just from a money point of view, the Brexit, I regretted it because everything became even more expensive for me to order something from the UK, which I did a lot in the past. So yeah. Yeah, and the time zone, like most of the viewers right now, like a lot of the viewers that I have in this particular live stream are from Australia, Tasmania, also Europeans, some friends of mine, like a wide variety. But I want to do more live streams for people in other time zones too. I would do it already, but usually in the evening, I'm done right now. Having a long day usually. And with Kami is our 17-year-old cat, and she needs a lot of care right now. Yeah, and it was a rough week this week. So yeah, but I really consider doing more more live streams at times when people from other time zones are online too. Yeah, the time zone is perfect for Australia, I heard. Yeah, and the United States, I'm not sure how late it is, maybe 11 p.m., something like that. That would be my guess. Maybe even later. Could be really late in the United States. I always have something like 7 to 9 hours behind, I think. That is what I have in mind, what I always applied in my head. 5 a.m. in Texas right now. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I would love to make it more fitting for the American viewers too. If this thing, depending on how much work outside the live stream I still have to do, I might actually do more live streams at different time zones too. It's crazy how big the United States is, that you also have so many time zones in the country, right? But yeah, thank you for taking the time to be here so early. I appreciate it. I did a few interviews where I got up in the middle of the night, and it's always, yeah, it's a little bit of work, so I always appreciate it when people do it for me. Hey, welcome to the live stream. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we will see how it goes now in summer. Right now in summer, we will have a lot of flowers that are opening in the middle of the night. So the plan is to do more short live streams, like really short, where I say, okay, we have 20 minutes and I will go through the greenhouse and show you the flowers that are opening tonight. That is the kind of stuff that we could do now in summer, because I will be out at night too. I usually go out at night to look at the opening flowers from time to time. And that could be, we could live stream that. It's just a little bit shorter. So yeah. Okay. But thank you again. I appreciate it. So and this one goes back, Carolina Reaper. For now, no chili. It will come eventually, but for now it's not here. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. I'm the type of person I usually never ask for that stuff. And I need to tell you about that because like earlier today, in the last time I started posting when I was doing something. Like every time when I am doing something that people watch, I try to talk about it. Like when I'm going into the live stream earlier this morning, I actually made a post saying, hey guys, I'm just setting up the live stream. This is the desk and I'm doing this today. And that is important because you need to tell people what you're doing. Otherwise, they will never hear about it, you know? So it's important to actually beat your own drum, to tell the people that watch your stuff that you will be doing something or that you are currently doing something. And I need to do more of that in the future. I'm just the type of person, I don't like to do that. I don't like to advertise, you know, like I'm like looking at social media. I don't advertise. Like the type of stuff that I do, I believe content is either good or not good. And I would not pay for that. Like there were times in my life when I didn't know that, you know, like when I felt like, okay, maybe I can just take a shortcut and like with advertising, you might reach people too. But in my personal opinion, I just believe that quality should always stand, always succeed, and always matter. It isn't always like that anymore today, but I still believe in that. Like that's the mindset that I'm going into everything that I do. I try to do good with what I do, and I'm also very self-critical about my stuff. If I do not like how I was in a certain live stream, I'm really continuously adjusting myself. You know, I'm very aware of what I do. And I try to get better and better at what I do. And I feel like it should be the logical consequence. If you continuously get better, eventually they will have you on their radar. Like people on social media or even the social media networks themselves. But unfortunately, times have changed a little. You can have a great post talking about AI, but they only show it to 3 people or something like that, you know? I don't want to complain. I'm posting for posterity. Like when I'm posting on social media right now, I post so it's there. I know that people will go back and have a look at it later. Right now, we're not having the pull that we will have later, but it will happen. And yeah, so that's why right now I'm just posting to have it there. I know sometimes people get like an older post gets attention by accident, gets traction by accident. Someone shares a post, someone comments below a post, and then suddenly, boom, it's going viral, you know? So I just try to do good posts every time. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't like when people are doing too much of that, but I'm also aware that you have to beat your own drum. You have to believe in yourself. You have to advertise yourself a little bit because the others will not do it for you. You have to tell people that you are actually good. No matter what you do, You have to keep telling them. You have to, because sometimes it's hard to be found on social media. It doesn't happen from one day to another. It happens over years, over sometimes a decade. I've been starting the channel like 8-9 years ago. So yeah, so you have to find the middle ground between having a product that is good to stand on, that is good enough to stand on its own, and also from time to time just not being dense about it. You know, like sometimes you just have to be somewhat, you have to tell people what you're doing. Otherwise you will not, you know, they will never see what you do. It's just natural to have to find a middle ground there. Yes, thank you. I feel like I needed to kind of grow as a creator. Like when you're growing, I could have grown faster. I could have grown much faster. On YouTube, especially on YouTube. If I had changed my style and if I had numbed it down more, I could have grown much faster. But then again, I would not have attracted the kind of viewers that I have now. I might only have a few thousand subscribers right now, but I have a good subscriber base. I have loyal people that really believe in what we do here. It's a good stream, and it's a good channel, you know? And yeah, so you sometimes have to decide, do you want to grow fast at all cost, or do you want to grow slow and go deep? And I feel like we like in the end, now that they are going so hard against slop content, like cheaply produced content that is made just to appeal to a wide audience, and they don't like that anymore now. Like I've seen on YouTube, they're going against that. Like they like when a creator does what I do, is original. They are doing something, they're doing a live stream, they're original, they are doing a video, they're filming everything themselves, that kind of thing, you know? They like that now. And I feel like that will become more and more a thing in the future, because it will be so easy to produce fast content. And if I know us people, we don't like something that is fast produced, that is quick. Like if everyone can do it with AI, why do it? You know, like why watch it? So people will always like to have that original thing. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. There were some trolls from time to time. Like in the beginning, they are there, but I know how to deal with them. You just have, for one, you have to remain friendly. You can't really become, you know, you have to understand that they're just testing your boundaries. It's like when you have a little child that sees how far it can push it, you know, and if they can push it far in your live stream, then it's your fault. So yeah, it happened. Like in the beginning, we had actually political trolling a little bit here, you know, like right-wing politics invading the live stream a little bit. And I went against it. And you don't have to go against it. You know, you can still have a talk about that subject, and we did. But you have to be clear in where you stand. And I think I was, when that happened, I think I was. Yeah. I mean, it like the trolls, if you look at the live streams now, like looking back, it happened very rarely, but it happens. It happens all the time, and usually happens the moment you reach a wider audience, because you have that dedicated group of viewers that watch something, but the moment you're going live, you're going viral, you have a totally different type of people. They don't know me. They don't know that maybe sometimes I speak a little off because I had that issue with the tick bites, you know, like with the muscle stuff. They don't know me. They just see me as how I look and how I appear in the first seconds. And then you can sometimes, like people that find the stream, at first they're kind of trolling around, but then they're realizing, oh, This is actually a decent, good space to be. And that is, in my opinion, that's the best way to deal with that. Stay friendly, respectful, but set firm boundaries. Say no. Like if the comments get too rough, you have to from time to time moderate a little bit. And again, they already have relatively strict laws, like regulations on YouTube now. It's differently on other platforms. Yeah, I mean, there are different types of creators, and there's not just one taste. So I never really want to tell people what's good content and bad content. And there are limits to that too. Like there is bad content, and the bad content is the kind of content that makes young people believe that they need to be super thin to be good enough for the beauty standards that are normalized in the media, like that kind of content, like that influencer content, where they are living a life that for one is fake and also is unhealthy, like showing young people the wrong kind of ideals to grow up, because they need to tell the young people that they are good the way they are, that they don't have to fake themselves with filters, that they do not have to lose weight just to have the right to have an audience. Like young people, they need to, like the influencers that are super successful, they need to be very aware of the way they influence their audience. And in that way, I distinguish between good and bad content in that way. I say, okay, if someone is promoting bad stuff, I wouldn't recommend that content to younger people, that kind of thing, But apart from that, there's so many different tastes, like someone that is watching my live stream when I'm out with flowers and that kind of thing might be a different kind of person than who's watching a live stream about gaming. And both can be great. Both can be great in their very own way. Sometimes it stands and falls with the person who is doing it. And if you have an interesting person that is doing it, then the subject isn't important. It's how, like, the kind of mindset that the people who are doing it are bringing into that. So thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, TJ. I appreciate it. Thank you, Albert. Yeah, you need to be careful today. Every word that I pick is chosen. Like it's a decision. You have to be very aware, because I've seen how it is today on social networks where they use auto moderators. They're basically word filters, and they're looking for words. And once you use too many of them, you can trigger it. Okay, I just got a notification that I used up 80% of my data volume. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, that I feel like when I was younger, let me get that bucket out of my face, okay? So I can talk a little bit. So when I was younger, when I was a kid, when I grew up, on German television, we had a show that was called Löwenzahn. Löwenzahn, the person who moderated it was a man called Peter Lustig, and he's one of my personal heroes, so to speak. Because that was basically, it's the same kind of thing that I'm doing today. It's the same principle what I'm doing today, and it was just a good kind of person that was trying to show young kids in life how to get through life, like that kind of thing. And that was a show that was a little bit more aimed towards the younger audience, but I really like what the guy was doing. And it's like Mr. Rogers in the United States, like Steve Irwin in Australia, these kind of people that were always there but it wasn't like it is today. Today they have a channel or a page, you know, and at the time it was in a TV show. So yeah, but I like these kind of people. I like the Steve Irwins. I like the Steve Rogers. I like the Peter Lustigs of the world. That kind of content is something that I personally try to be like a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, I like metal. This is a Manowar shirt. I'm a big fan of theirs, and I also listen to other stuff. I like metal. I'm a little older, you know. I grew up with these bands when I was younger. I wish I would have kept more of the original metal shirts that I had when I was younger. I had a lot of Metallica shirts that I would love to own again today. But yeah, it's a different kind of shirt. I really feel like the old metal shirts from the 80s and the 90s, like when you wear them, they feel different than the newer stuff. So yeah, and that's kind of how I see like what I'm trying to do. I really like that Löwenzahn show, and I recently watched it again, just trying to watch it from the point of view of someone that's older now and that now has to decide what to do for the audience that I have, you know. Like there were times in my life when I would have considered doing more influencer stuff because I was poor, you know. I was literally poor at the time, and thought like, okay, what can I do? I have this viral audience. What can I do with it? But I realized that that I don't want to be an influencer, you know, because so many of them are not. They're not authentic. They're not truthful. They have to hide every time they are on camera, and I couldn't do that. I realized I can't, and yeah, and since then it's like the moment I realized that I just want to be who I am. I started succeeding more. Like the live stream started succeeding more. It's because a lot of people don't watch. I mean, they watch a gardening show, but sometimes they watch a gardening show because they care about what a person thinks, you know, that they like to watch from time to time. And YouTube channels, they're getting the TV channels of the future a little bit. There's a lot of development in that. And having a channel right now, the way I have it, it's a fascinating time. I feel like I can scale this up, and I can do it in a way that we can actually use it to have a positive message in all of it. And yeah, so I enjoy that. No, he did not. When was that supposed to be? Like, Torsten is a friend of mine. I've seen him share something yesterday, I think, or a few days ago. I hope he's okay. That would be a gigantic loss. I really hope he's okay. Like, when I'm done after the live stream, I will look into it. I think I've seen him share something just a couple of days ago. But he has health problems, and people like need to be aware that a lot of the older, like the people from my generation, a lot of them are disappearing. You know, we are losing many good people right now. I hope it's just rumors. I will look into that. Like, Torsten has a lot of health issues. I hope he's okay. Like I said, I will look into it later. I will send him a message and ask if he's okay. But I would suspect it's just a rumor. Otherwise, it happened recently. Hey, welcome to the live stream. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Torsten has always been a supporter of mine, has always been a friend of mine. And he had edited my book, my first book. And without him, it wouldn't have happened. Because I couldn't afford editing like a real editor. So Torsten helped me with it. And it wasn't, you know, like, it wasn't perfect. He did that in between work, in between actually doing work, and yeah, in his spare time. And I will always appreciate that. And yeah, like, the Cactus forum that he has, it's still online, I think. Or there recently was a security thing, but these old school sources, like sources of information from the time between 2000 and 2015, maybe, that kind of content will disappear. A lot of good old school content that web forum has cost a lot of hosting over the years, So yeah, I hope Thorsten has a long life ahead of him. Yeah, I still have books in my shop at trichocereus.net. Check it out. I have a few. I still have maybe, I don't know, 30 or 40 left of the first one. Not many. And some of them might be sorted out. So very few of the first and a few more of the second. Check it out. trichocereus.net is the link where I still have some of the books. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, today, in the last years, in the last 5-10 years, I've been disappointed in some people. Like that really turned out to be bad people. Like also from the community, like you I'm sure you listen to the news and all stuff that happens where people from the community do bad stuff. And I'm just trying to do something good with my life. I've been already incredibly ill. I consider every day a gift. And when I'm doing that, I do it to leave something behind. Like every video that I film, I could say, okay, this is enough. I wouldn't get like a good life, but I could live out my days. But I really feel like we have a good chance to do something here. A good position to maybe, for one, I feel like it's important that more people do this kind of work right now. Like going back to nature, bringing basic content back, like slow content, just a live stream of nature, just a live stream of gardening, to remind everyone that internet world that they have built up, like as a cage by now, that can also be broken. You can just go out in your garden if you have the luck to have one. And if not, you see, I'm gardening in the house. And that is some sort of a very, yeah, it's a kind of the ultimate independence. You're completely independent. You can't, like, if you want to really do it, if you really want to push this to an extreme, you could be completely independent of the rest of the world. Like when people go crazy, completely lose their mind, you could still say, okay, I'm growing my food, I'm growing everything that I need. And that is a good thing. Like when you can do that, growing something is power. And I enjoy that part about it, to just help people to enter this kind of world. Because once you are able to grow one plant, it goes fast when you're growing others. And yeah, it's a big world that you discover. I closed them just locally. This was the order, like the thing that I had. I got 3 orders, all from Germany. So I deactivated the orders from Germany for now, because it felt like a bot that was trying to look for a weakness. So I deactivated that. I will also activate it again, because I also have legitimate customers from Germany. I don't want to lock them out. I just wanted to put up something to prevent any more like bot traffic that had apparently happened there. But yeah, I still ship books outside and all that. You can still order, but yeah, I'm using a firewall and that kind of thing, but the books are still available. I recently started watching Bob Ross too, TJ. I recently started watching Bob Ross too. And yeah, I really feel like we have a bunch of things in common. I don't want to say I would love to have that kind of artistic capability to paint like Bob Ross did. But I've seen him talk about the squirrels that he cared for. We have a lot of the same motives, you know, like I have the same love for nature that Bob had, and I try to be in the same way. I don't want to have, yeah, like there are ways to be active, to be vocal, and still have that kind of a kindness to you. And I try to keep that. I try not to lose that. And it gets more difficult from time to time. You know, like right now, you also sometimes you have to be loud. You have to be a little bit more vocal because also people look up to you. People respect you. So you have a kind of responsibility when you see stuff that you don't like as a person, as who I am, just who I am. I sometimes am torn in between trying to not engage in that kind of thing, but I also need to be, I don't like injustice or that kind of thing. You know, sometimes you're constantly torn in between, and I'm just trying to listen to my gut, and it changes from day to day how I you know, if I want to say something about a thing that really bothers me or not. But in general, I try to be positive. Let me see. I'm catching up with the comments, okay? I've just read the comment about the garden with your mother. So yeah, I hope you can get it under control. I know how it is to take something over. I took over the garden from my grandfather, and he was a good man that I greatly admired. And unfortunately, he passed away very fast when I was a young kid. He was a music teacher, and he taught me how to play the piano, how to play the guitar. And then he passed away when I was 5, and it was over. And I have basically inherited the garden, and I don't know how he did it, how he kept that huge thing under control, you know? So yeah, I'm sure you can do something good with the garden. I'm sure it doesn't matter what you do, as long as it makes you happy. Greetings to Ontario, Canada. I'm now getting to the other comments. I'm already a little bit over time. But yeah, I'm trying to, it's just a nice live stream today. So greetings. I'm glad you don't have frost anymore. I couldn't live with such long frost. I mean, I still have frost maybe in March, and then we get a late frost sometime in at the beginning of May, but it's not the bad kind of frost, like the really you can, if you cover the plants, it's okay. Like really Canada, or like, you know, that kind of Alaska kind of winter must be really challenging. I am already, there are some times when I had a lot of issues with the winter here, and it's a little bit milder than in other parts of the country. Yeah, I really liked that episode with Bob Ross when he talked about his squirrel, because it kind of humanized him, you know? I have recently watched that episode, and the way he talked about animals showed so much love, like genuine love. And that is something, in my opinion, there are very few things that can humanize a person more than just showing true love for something, you know, because that is something that takes intelligence to admire something, to appreciate something, because we are kind of raised and in this world, and we take a lot for granted, and it's just the way the human mind works. But it takes real heart to look at something that is weaker than you and feel like you try to nurture it, you try to raise it. It takes so much effort, and that made me respect Bob Ross so much more. It's the same way with Steve Irwin, the way he saw life, you know, the way he saw the animals, the way he loved them. That kind of love is something that is connecting people everywhere. And yeah, so that's the kind of role model that I aspire to follow, you know, and I have that's big shoes to follow. But I also feel today, looking at the social media landscape, there are not enough people doing it right now, so I might have a chance. The competition isn't so big, right? Like, there are good people on social media, don't get me wrong. But they're often, you don't even find them. They're hidden a little bit. They don't show them. So it's so easy to be found when you say the most outrageous thing. But when you when you really do something with love, like nurturing something from humble beginnings, growing something, like, it takes forever to actually be seen. So yeah, my grandfather, they had to heat the house with coal, with actual coal. And I remember that they always had to carry the coal to the house. And it's 30, 40 stairs up. Like, they had the coal delivered at the street and had to carry it up. And one of the few stories that I heard about my grandparents was that they had golden marriage, you know, like when you are married for a certain amount of years, or it was even something higher than that, higher than golden. And they were spending their marriage anniversary carrying coal together. And that's one of the stories that I have about my grandparents. And that tells you a little bit about the kind of people that they were. I respect that. I wish I could have, like, when I was younger, like, my grandfather could have helped me a little getting started in the garden, you know, like, when you have to teach everything, when you have to learn everything by yourself, just by watching YouTube and that kind of thing, makes everything harder. It's I wish I would have had more time with them. But again, you know how it is when you're younger. I probably would not have. I would have still, in the end, kind of felt like I didn't spend enough time. Like, when you're younger, you feel like you have all the time in the world, you know? Yeah. They were really poor. My grandparents were really poor. They were selling honey. My grandfather was a music teacher, and music teacher at the time, you didn't really get rich from it. They were really, really poor. And yeah. And I never forgot it, like, how poor they were, you know, like, I've heard stories, and I had the luck when I was younger. My parents were living at a time when money was there. Money was originally never an issue. And the older I got, the more I had the same kind of life that my grandparents had, like, really experiencing poverty a little bit. Yeah, and I respect that kind of life that they lived, that they made, you know, that they made it through all that. And that they didn't let life completely break them, because life is so tough sometimes, especially when you're poor, you know? So yeah. I hope one day, like, with the garden that I have, it's huge, and I'm still not happy with how everything looks. But I know that one day I will have it. I'm almost happy with it. Like, when I'm done, when I finished my work that I do here with the channel and with the garden and all, at some point I will be somewhat happy with it. I will not stop until that happens. I will not try to improve it until it gets better. I've never taken down more trees. I've never taken down more, you know, I've never done more to keep the place the way it is, like a beautiful place. And you have to always find a healthy ground in between leaving nature space and also taking a little space for yourself. Got to cut back the greenery everywhere, because it's getting to the house. So yeah, I feel like this was a good live stream. I did a lot longer than I wanted, actually, but it was really fun to do it today. I enjoy these live streams a lot more than when you have a text that you want to tell. You know, like, I don't want to perform. I want to be myself, and we're doing stuff on camera. That is the plan. That's my plan for the future. And on some days it works better than it works on other days, you know, like, trying to find a winning formula that feels like really like I am. And right now this was getting close. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for allowing me to be like that, you know, because that is the one thing that I feel like that must be bad for all the influencers, because they can never show who they really are, because all the support that they get is kind of based on the assumption that they are totally different than how they are in real life, you know. And I can be like I am, and I greatly value that. That is something, like when you can do what you love and you can stay true to yourself, or at least you can try, you know. It doesn't work all the time, but it allows me to at least try that every time I'm going in, and that is something special. So yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, there are times when you have to water the plants, and other times when you can talk a little. So yeah, always trying to find a healthy mix. Think today I found it. So thank you guys for having been here today. Longer stream, but it was a good one. I appreciate it, and I will do more live streaming for the people in the other time zones. I think I have 20% data volume left for the last 10 days, so we will use it up. Okay, so thank you guys. I loved the live stream. I will be back again tomorrow and with more videos later today. And I'm also filming time lapse. Please have a look at the video that I will be posting later and let me know what to film, what to do with the time lapse, because there are so many options. Thank you. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. Everyone else, you are making this live stream what it is, because if I don't get any kind of interesting questions, it wouldn't be interested, like it would just be watering. So thank you guys. I'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you. Have a nice day.